Mimi is in St. Paul, listening on KTNF.
Hey, Mike.
Hi.
Well, I'm confused. I want to talk about Israel. And so, can you even imagine any other country in the world allowing 530 rockets to fall before it took a step to defend itself? And then hearing the last segment, you guys were talking about not wanting to help fund the Iron Dome. The Iron Dome isn't just to protect Israelis. It's also so that they don't have to fire back and cause casualties in these areas of the Gaza Strip where the population is so densely populated. I just don't know. Tell me what you think would be an acceptable. When are the Israelis supposed to defend themselves? How can they do that?
Well, wait a second, Mimi. Let me just turn it around and ask you something. You are a family. You have lived in St. Paul, Minnesota for your family and your antecedents for probably, let's say, 100 years. And all of a sudden, I show up on your doorstep, literally on your doorstep. And I say to you, Mimi, get out of this house. This is my house. Let me tell you why it's my house. It's my house because my religion says it's my house. Now get out. Now, I happen to be standing on your doorstep with a gun pointed at your head and at your...
Who are you?
No. Hold on. No. I listened to you. You listened to me.
I don't know which side you're talking for, but okay.
All right, Mimi, I'm going to put you on hold so you can go ahead and interrupt if you want to. But I'm standing on your front porch, and I order you and your family out of your house. And I tell you that it's my house, not your house. And the reason it's my house and my block and my neighborhood is because my religious belief says it's mine. And you sit there and you say, well, no. What are you talking about? We've been here 100 years. I'm sorry. Get out, Mimi. So you leave. And the reason you leave is because you know if you don't, I'm going to blow up your house and probably blow up your family. So you leave and you move down the street. And for the next 60 years, you sit there and you get very, very angry because I came into your house and told you to get out. So what you do, Mimi, you decide, well, I know what I'll do. I'm going to start throwing rocks at what used to be my house, and it'll break the windows. That'll make that damn Malloy move. So you start throwing rocks. And then I come outside and I say, Mimi, were you throwing rocks? And you look at me rather sheepishly. And that's when I level an RPG at you and your family and your house. And I pull the trigger, and all of a sudden, whoosh, you're all gone. Now, which of us is the terrorist? You tell me. But tell me on another phone call, Mimi, because I'm not going to get involved in a big discussion about this. Thank you. Wow. When does Israel have a right to defend itself? Well, when do I have a right to defend myself? I came in and took Mimi's house. So if Mimi attacks me, who's going to say, well, Malloy, you have a right to defend yourself because Mimi's attacking you? And somebody else will say, yeah, but you took Mimi's house. Yeah, but, you know, possession is 9/10 of the law. Nah, possession is 99.9% of the law. And besides, God gave me this land. What the hell is Mimi doing on it? All I had to do was come here and remind her, Mimi, get out. God gave this land to me. Now, if Mimi doesn't like that, she can go live in the little ghettoized area that I've set up for her near the Mississippi River in St. Paul, where there's bad electricity, bad water, the fish are no good to eat, and Mimi can stay there until hell freezes over. Or Mimi can throw rocks at my house. Used to be her house. In which case, I will level a couple of grenades at her. So the question, Mimi, is not, when do I have a right to defend myself? I stole your house. I stole your neighborhood. I stole your friend's house. I stole the corner grocery store. I took it all. When do I have a right to defend myself? You have to be kidding. You have to be kidding. Let me recommend a book for you, Mimi. It was written by Rabbi Meir Kahana. The title is They Must Go. Read it and call me back. Now we go to Davis in Minneapolis, who, our mistake, didn't want to play trivia. Hello, David.
Hello, how are you?
Fine.
Yes. Reason I called, I wanted to talk a little bit about your comments on Netanyahu.
Uh-huh.
Because I think you're being overly hard on him, and because I mean it's easy enough to criticize a guy who is directing airstrikes that are killing incredible numbers of people, but if you were in his position, what would you do?
What would I do? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, the first place,
Yes,
the very first. Now wait, you asked me a question. I'm going to answer you. The first thing I would do is resign as the leader of Israel. Netanyahu has ordered the killing of hundreds, indiscriminate killing of hundreds of Palestinians in Hamas as a result of rocket attacks by Hamas that fall in the desert. The population centers of Israel are not being hit. Netanyahu is a fascist. Netanyahu has set up checkpoints, roads that only Palestinians can take, arresting Palestinians without charges, holding them for years, denying the people in Gaza even the right to reconstruct after the Israeli military has destroyed everything. Putting a quarantine on medical supplies, hospital supplies. If I were Netanyahu, I would resign. What would you do, David?
All right. So, well, that begs the question. If you were the leader, if you were responsible for dealing with the rocket attacks coming out of Hamas, what would you do?
Well, in the first place, I would not be responsible for rocket attacks coming out of Gaza for this simple fact. If I were the president or the prime minister of Israel, I would have sat down long ago with the leaders of Al-Fatah, PLO, Hamas, I don't care who it is. I would sit down with them and say, okay, after 60, 70 years, it's time to stop this. And I would do everything that I could to find peace, but I would not launch rocket attacks, missile attacks, tank attacks, Air Force bombings of population centers. Are you kidding me?
Well, then you're going to do the rocket attacks are being launched from launchers that are situated in schoolyards.
Well, wait a second, David. In the first place, unless you have been there, you don't know that. But let's assume that that's the case. How big is Gaza? How many? It's about half the size of Manhattan. How many people live in Gaza? Almost 2 million. It's supposedly one of the most densely populated and packed little strips of land on Earth. If you are fighting the resistance against an occupying army and you have no field of battle, and you put your rockets over here and your missiles over there, and then you're accused of using your population as human shields. I mean, where should they put them, David? They're resisting an occupier. Wait. Look, the Palestinian people are resisting a monstrous nuclear-powered occupying country. What would you do, David, in Minneapolis if tomorrow you woke up and a bunch of people in uniforms threw you out of your house, kicked you down the street, took your car away from you, said your children could not go to school, and said, by the way, Minneapolis belongs to us, David, not you? What would you do?
Maybe I would stop infiltrating.
All right. Thank you, David. I try. I think his wife called last week. Mimi. He said he would stop infiltrating. I can't talk to people who don't understand. I mean, David, obviously, he lives in Minneapolis. He's probably middle class. He has a house. He has a job. He might have a spouse. He might have children. He is secure. He's got his bank account. He's got his car. He goes on vacations. Yada, 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 yada. And I always want to ask people like David what I asked him, and I never get an answer. What would you do if tomorrow morning you heard a pounding on your door and there was a military squad telling you to get your ass out of your house because it's not really your house? It's built on property owned by the Slavovians, and they are here to reclaim their chunk of Minneapolis. What would you do? And they stood there and told you, if you said, no, wait a second, my family's lived here in Minneapolis for 80 years. And the armed guys said, I don't care about that. You don't understand, David. God gave us Minneapolis. You have no claim. I do not understand this. I can never understand this. I have tried talking with Zionist Jews, I don't know how many times, and I've given up. I've just given up. I have watched my Jewish friends who are not Zionists try to talk with Zionist Jews, and they've given up. You cannot penetrate that mentality that says this sky being, this imitation, this freak that lives up in their heaven somewhere, gave them that land. Therefore, they have an eternal claim. Anybody who shows up there is going to be butchered. Or worse. Sorry, leave me out of that discussion. Do me a favor, and I've said this years ago, don't call this program if you're a Zionist Jew and you want to talk about Israel and the Palestinians. You and I were like Netanyahu and the leader of Hamas. We cannot talk. Shalom. It is 9 minutes before the hour. Back to your phone calls. Bill is calling from Nashville, Tennessee, listening on Sirius. Bill, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
My original point was Hamas kept violating the ceasefire by firing rockets into Israel. And when Israel finally gets sick of it and begins to mop the floor with them, everybody's all up in arms. Why is it that liberals are so ready to defend these animals that hide behind their women and children and would cut your throat if given half a chance?
Well, I could answer by giving you a question. Why is it that you, I won't say conservatives, you, because most conservatives hate what's going on, but you seem to think it's okay. Why do you think it's okay to massacre 300 children in order to make a point that you are not going to tolerate the Hamas? Rather than sitting down and working out a solution. Why do you feel it's okay to kill children? Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
What would happen?
It's not okay to kill children.
Excuse me. What would happen?
Right.
What would happen if somebody started sending missiles into your house and killing your children? What would you do? No, wait. I'm going to give you a chance.
Okay.
To handle a conversation like an adult, which no conservative or Republican has ever done on my program in 24 years. So if you can pull it off, Bill, you will have set a record. Now I'm going to ask you again. Supposing some people that you didn't like were sending rockets into your city and killing your children, what would you do?
I would react in kind.
Which means what?
I would target the ones who were doing it. But it's kind of hard to...
No, wait. Now stop. Slow down.
Okay.
Who is Israel targeting?
Hamas.
How many Hamas fighters have they killed?
I really don't know.
How many children? How many children have they killed? 300, as of yesterday, Bill, 312. Do you think that's okay?
No, that's not okay.
Okay,
it's not
then.
Okay.
Then what are
It's
you
not
telling
okay
me?
to hide
Why are you telling me that it's okay for Israel to mop the floor with them? What is being used as detergent, Bill, as they mop the floor? Children's blood. Is that okay with you?
No, that's not okay with me.
How
But it's not
many,
okay
how
for the
many,
animals
how
to
many,
hide
let me
behind
ask
the
you, let
children
me
either.
ask you another question. How many Israeli children have been killed by Hamas?
I don't know.
Okay. Bill, I just need to tell you that there's no reason for us to continue the conversation. I appreciate. Let's move on. I appreciate you calling in, but you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You really, really don't. I've kind of got a rule in this program, and that is, if you want to talk about the issue of this horror in the Middle East, you've got to display to me that you have at least a basic understanding of what's going on. And this guy didn't. And 99% of the people who called the only people who have a basic, I'm not saying correct or proper, but a basic understanding of what's going on are the Jews that call this program to defend the position of Israel. That's it. Anybody else who calls this program, Americans who call this program, with the kind of snotty, chin-thrust-out attitude that butchering 300 children. I have on the program tonight a former Israeli Air Force captain who says what he said, if you were listening. Then a writer for Haaretz saying what he says. And then I get this jerky screwball from Tennessee calling me up and talking like, well, yeah, it's okay to kill children. Goddamn right it is. It's insane. How many Israelis, period, have been killed by these rockets fired at them by Hamas? Everything I read from the press in Israel, 15 in the past 5 years. Okay, that's 15 too goddamn many. But the Israelis have killed that many innocent Palestinians since the beginning of the past hour. I'm not defending death. Whose death is more important? Jews or Muslims, Palestinians or Israelis? That's a fool's game, and that's what this jerk that just called me was playing. I don't play that. Any of these deaths are horrifying. The dumbass, right away, they always say, well, you liberals, don't call this program anymore. You people. I always put the word out. If anybody can call in here and make a coherent, cogent case for any issue, the Israeli-Palestinian horror or the economy or anything, and you call yourself a Republican or conservative, have at it. And so far, never, not in 22 years, have I ever heard anyone on the right make a coherent statement. It's like shooting fish in a barrel, what they're doing. You ever heard of proportionality? Ron is calling from Michigan, listening on Sirius Satellite Radio. Ron, welcome to the program.
Mr. Malloy,
hey.
I wanted to congratulate you on your Barack Obama victory. I'm one of the coward Republicans, as you refer to, that does listen to your show and enjoys listening to it. But I wanted to tell you that I am a poor Republican. I guess if you can call me a Republican, because I'm not what you would call a hardcore Republican. But I have a camp in the woods that's by a river. I have cable TV. I even have a cell phone. I don't know what country in America where somebody that's making $20,000 a year that could be able to afford to accomplish all that. I have to pinch my pennies. I have to work hard. And I have to save every dime that I have. But I do have that, and I feel like I live the life of a millionaire, to be completely honest with you, and I love this country.
Why do you identify yourself as a Republican? You're not a Republican.
Just because I don't make much money, I'm not a Republican. Of course I'm a Republican.
Well, define Republican for me.
I voted for John McCain.
No. Define Republican for me.
I'm pro-life, although I do see a lot of points.
What do you mean? What do you mean pro-life? You're against war?
If not at all possible, definitely.
If at all possible.
Yes.
So, are you anti-death penalty?
No, I do not believe in
Okay, then you're not pro-life, right? If you are going to hedge your answer when I ask you, are you anti-war, and your answer is what did you say?
If at all possible.
If at all possible.
I would think any
tell me.
logical
All right, now
person.
wait. Don't go nuts on me. Tell me a war that the United States has been involved in. Let's pick an historical starting point. Let's say since World War II. Tell me a war we've been involved in that was not a war of aggression on our part.
Well, all wars were aggression.
No, come on, don't do that. Look,
Okay.
either you're going to be intellectually honest with me, or I'm going to move on to the next call. Tell me a war. You said you're anti-war, or you believe in war when necessary.
We haven't had a war. We've always been aggressive in every war that we've ever been in.
Okay, so what are you saying then when you say you're pro-life? You're not pro-life. You're pro-death.
No, I am not.
Well, okay, I'm only using your definitions. I'm sorry. You live by a river and don't have a cell phone or whatever the hell you said.
No, I do have a cell phone.
Okay,
I don't know too many countries with people making the amount of money I do.
Wait.
I love this country.
Oh, okay, well, so what? What does that make you a Republican? Jesus Christ, come on, man, get in the game. Just because you love the country, what do you love about the country? Do you love the hills and the valleys, or do you love the people in political office?
Both.
All right, do you not understand? Now, wait a second. Do you not understand the difference between loving the country and loving the political system? Can you not make that distinction? Do you love the political system?
Yes.
You do? Then why aren't you participating?
I do participate.
Well, not if you live by a river.
No, I don't. That's
in a shack out in the woods. What the hell are you talking about? This is a consumer.
Camp. I have an apartment in town.
You have an apartment in town too?
Yes. And then I can go out to my camp with my sauna, my camper. I can fish. I can enjoy nature. And not too much.
I got to ask you, Ron, why did you call me tonight? What is the point of this phone call?
Because I'm not a coward, and I love this country, and I also believe that the cowards are the liberals, people that are afraid of having other points of view that want to endorse the Fairness Doctrine. That, to me, is cowardism.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. Why? You're all over the map. What the hell are you talking about? This is crazy talk, Ron. You live out by the river, and you obviously been eating too many mushrooms. Back off a little bit. I mean, I'm all for getting inside your head, but Jesus Christ, man, give it a break. Chase it with some coffee or something to take the edge off.
You want to get in his head, I think you're going to have to get in line. Sounds like there are a few voices operating in there already.
What was that call about? I have no idea.
I got a cell phone, okay?
I try to be nice. I try to be understanding, and it never works. I'm a Republican.
I can be poor and love my country, and hey, I'm a Republican.
Oh my God.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what the Fairness Doctrine had to do with the call.
I have no idea. I guess he's bought into the Rush Limbaugh stuff. He obviously has a radio too. That the reinstitution of the Fairness Doctrine would be the death of conservative talk radio. Jesus Christ Almighty, Ron, grow up. Oh.
I just have one more thing to say about just on the subject of the Fairness Doctrine that seems to be the big booger bear that all the right-wing talk show hosts are
aren't they terrified?
About.
Oh, my God.
I just want to know, what are they afraid of? I mean, it's not going to come back, all right, ever.
Right.
But let's just pretend for a fantasy minute that it was. What's so scary about little balance?
The right-wingers on radio who are making an issue about this, they know damn good and well it's not coming back. But this is one of those straw men that they put out there for the sake of the brain dead. You know, the people who are such willing participants in being told this thing's going to get you when there's really no thing there at all. You know, Al Gore's going to take away your guns. The liberals want to end conservative talk radio. I mean, it just goes on and on. They're trying to take a Christmas away. They're telling people in the department stores they can't say Merry Christmas. I mean, This is the kind of dreck, garbage, slop that the right-wing talk show hosts and television thugs play to. I mean, they play to people who eat that stuff, who open their mouths while the right-wingers pour swill and garbage into right down their gullets. It's insane. Anybody but a gibbering freak would not would no more think that such a thing as the so-called Fairness Doctrine could be reinstated than you could strike a match on a wet cake of soap. But these are Republicans, conservatives out there in Radio Land. And apparently they have lots of time to be the guy that calls and said, well, I'm not a coward. Yes, you are. Jesus Christ, you just don't realize it. You're afraid of your own shadow. All of you right-wingers are. You're terrified that some big, badass liberal is going to jump out of the bushes and take away your gun, take away your right-wing talk radio, make your old lady have an abortion, educate your child in a government school. You're all cowards. Every one of you. That's what a Republican is. That's what a conservative is. Terrified. And the specter of reinstituting the Fairness Doctrine is just the latest. It doesn't mean anything. But isn't it funny how Republicans are always terrified of something that has the word fairness in it? Hey, Ron.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, it's moving right along.
Good.
Don't leave me with dead air. Hello?
Oh, I didn't know I was on the air, man.
Yes, you are.
Okay, well, great. Well, I'm a new listener, and I've been listening to about everything I can find on the
radio. The way you said, how's it going? I thought you were an old listener. Hey, Mike, how you going? I'm all right. Yeah. Ron, how are you?
Good. Well, I've only been listening a few days, and
yeah.
I'm really curious because I haven't heard this type of radio before. The programming is
the only place you'll hear this is in the Soviet Union.
Why do you say that?
I'm just trying to beat you to it because I figure you're going to say something like that.
No, I'm not against you. Like I asked the screener, I voted Republican,
why?
I'm just kind of wondering.
Why did you? Let me ask you. Why did you vote Republican?
Because Obama scares me.
How does he scare you? George Bush didn't scare you? He took us into 2 wars, destroyed the economy, was a maniac, and had as his vice president a mass murderer, and an entire cabinet that had been involved in murder and mayhem in different parts of the world over the past 30 years. And he didn't scare you? Oh, my God. Why does Obama scare you?
I'm not defending mistakes.
No.
Bad government at all.
Oh, I understand that. I understand that.
Voted there.
I understand that. I'm not talking about bad government. I'm talking about George W. Bush was a madman, and yet you tell me that Barack Obama scares you? Let me ask you, why?
Mike.
No, just answer.
I called up to find out
why? Ron, okay, I'll put you on hold. And if you can play nice, I'll let you back in the sandbox. But, Ron, you have to understand something. The name of this program is the Mike Malloy Show. It's not the Ron Show. You can go get your own radio program. If you're going to call mine and talk with me, A, have some manners, B, talk nice and don't overtalk me. Now, let's try one more time. Okay? You want to try it one more time?
That's my question.
Yeah, go ahead. But I asked you one first. Why did you vote Republican? I mean, no. Why are you afraid of Obama? Quick now.
I was afraid he would have a lot of vendettas.
A lot of what?
Vendettas.
Has he? Who's he gone after?
People with money.
People with money? Jesus Christ, his entire cabinet is full of millionaires. What are you talking about? Who is he gone after? He hasn't gone after anyone, Ron. Oh my God, a Limbaugh Beck listener. Oh, Ron, you poor thing.
Be nice, Mike.
No, I am. I'm being very sympathetic, as a matter of fact. I feel for you. If you think Obama has gone after who now? People with money.
I was afraid of Obama because I felt like he would go after people with money. Now look at.
Do you have a lot of money?
No, I don't.
Well, then why are you afraid?
Well, no, I was afraid he had vendetta. Okay.
No, you already said that. Vendettas against people with money. Do you have money?
Right.
No. Well, then why do you care? Who do you know that has a lot of money that might get mad at Ron if Barack Obama had vendettas?
People in business and people...
What people in business? He's trying to save businesses, for Christ's sake. Don't you understand what he's doing? He's giving a tax cut to you.
Mike, it's not obvious with GM and stuff.
What? GM?
With the plant?
What the hell do you care about GM? I mean, stop it. Ron, stop it. You're driving me crazy. You're driving me insane. You're I don't know. You're making me snot all over my microphone here. You got to quit. You got to stop, Ron. You got to. Barack Obama came into office as somebody who, believe it or not, wanted to fix things. Now, what he's done so far is made a valiant effort at fixing everything that your Republicans have destroyed. He's trying. On the other hand, he's maintaining some of the most egregious parts of the Republican administrations, like spying on you, Ron. Goddamn. But as far as taxes are concerned, Ron, he's trying to give you a tax cut. He's trying to give your family a tax cut. He's trying to cut 95% of Americans. Who has to pay more? Oh, Christ, why do I go through this? People who make over, what is it, 300,000, 250,000? Look, Ron, Sarah Palin, John McCain, Joe the plumber humper, or whatever the hell he was, and all these rights, Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity, have eaten your brain. Do you not understand that? And the sad part is you sound like you're probably a pretty nice guy who just wants to get through this life and make it on to the next, right? Of course, there is no next. This is it, pal. But, I mean, you sound like a normal person who has had your brains completely Hannitized. Have you heard that term before? Or Becketized or Limbaughized to the point where you cannot think for yourself anymore. Oh, my God. How could you possibly believe that you should be afraid of Barack Obama? Jeff is calling from Arkansas, listening on Sirius Satellite Radio. Hey, Jeff, welcome to the program.
I have 3 points to make.
Okay.
Number one, first point, I am a former Marine. I spent 10 years in the United States Marine Corps from 1978 to 1988. My son-in-law is a Marine at present time, fixing to go do another tour in Iraq. My father was a Marine in Vietnam. First of all, anyone who signs the contract, a binding contract with any branch, any military, if you haven't got the intelligence to know that when you sign that contract, you are stating when your country calls you, whether it be right or wrong, you're representing our country in any kind of conflict, any conflict.
All right,
if you do not understand that.
No, wait, just a second, Jeff. What if your country lies you into a war?
It does not matter.
Oh, it does matter, and I'll tell you what. No, wait, now, Jeff, don't make me put you on hold because I, by God, will. Now, you listen to me, Mr. Marine, and listen close, okay? When somebody violates his oath of office, as George Bush did, he took an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. If the man stands there and tells bald-faced lies that sends soldiers and Marines and all kinds of people into a death machine that we shouldn't have been in the first place, that is not a lawful order. So don't, no, absolutely not, Mr. Jeff Marine. You listen to me,
Lyndon
pal.
Baines
No, you
Johnson,
listen.
like John F.
Listen to
Kennedy
me.
did in
Listen to
Korea.
me. Listen to me, Jeff. You listen to me. Don't come on my program talking about your history in the Marine Corps. I am not the least interested in your history in the Marine Corps. Because if you really had a history in the Marine Corps, you would understand, Mr. Jeff Marine, the difference between a lawful order and an attack and assault on the Constitution. If you were a Marine, Mr. Jeff, you took an oath of office to defend the Constitution of the United States against enemies, foreign and domestic. Now that's enough from you, Mr. Jeff Marine. You're out of here. Don't be calling my program with that garbage. Don't tell me that some 18-year-old kid that joins the Marine Corps because he wants to prove his manhood, and then some dirty son of a bitch like George Bush, who was a draft dodger, sends him into a war based on lies, deceit, deception, false pretenses, and fraud, that 18-year-old young man Marine is going to stand there and say, yes, sir, I'll go die. Are you out of your goddamn mind, Jeff? Don't tell me about your history in the Marine Corps, because I am not interested. Especially when you tell me you were a Marine and you support an attack on the Constitution. Get out of town, pal. What the hell is wrong with these people? Go back and read the Uniform Code of Military Justice and find out what your obligations are. Better yet, Mr. Jeff, go read what some of the verdicts were at the Nuremberg trial and why people were hanged. Yeah, Mark. All right, Mark, listen, we'll come back to you after the break. You got carried away, but we'll come back. I know that you're going to challenge or you're a right-winger or whatever, but that's okay. Just remember to mind your manners, Mark, okay? Just mind your manners and we'll have a nice conversation, whatever your point of view is. But if you try to overtalk me or if you try to butt in or if you try to start spewing right-wing rhetoric, you won't last long. All right? We'll come back and talk with Mark after the break. Stay with us. I'm Mike Malloy on Nova M Radio. All right, let's go immediately to Mark, who is listening on Sirius Satellite Radio, calling from Crossville, Tennessee. All right, Mark, what you got on your mind?
Hey, how are you? Actually, I got a question and then a statement for you. My question is, kind of got two questions. First off, how do you feel about them allowing the prisoners at Guantanamo the right to a trial right now?
About the same as I would feel about your being allowed a trial if you
under our Constitution, right?
If you were charged with make-believe crimes. Let me ask you a question. What is an enemy combatant?
Somebody who you're fighting on the battlefield?
No. An enemy combatant is, first of all, there is no such thing. That's a term made up for George Bush to justify illegal detention in violation of a U.S. law, in violation of international law, in violation of Geneva Conventions, that as long as we're going to have wars, we all have to abide by those, or our soldiers, our people wind up being held without charges. So what was your original question again? What do I think of the ruling? I think this was the third ruling by the U.S. Supreme Court to tell George Bush that he was full of crap about his deciding on his very little own, with the people who feed this nonsense into his head, that there is another class of human beings that we can detain, and those are human beings that have no rights.
Well, no, they don't have any rights as far as I'm concerned. If they're fighting for the Taliban, you know what?
How do you know? Now, wait a second. How do you know they're fighting for the Taliban? You don't know a damn thing about these people. Some of them were picked up. Now, wait a second. Don't do this. Don't be like a typical right-wing ass. You have no idea. Now, let me tell you something, Mark. The case that was decided yesterday had to do with people who were picked up in Bosnia. So don't talk to me, don't come across to me like you know what you're talking about when you open your mouth and demonstrate you don't have a clue. Some of these, listen to me, some of these detainees were that were called enemy combatants were taxi drivers and teenagers who were scammed up by the so-called Northern Alliance and sold to the American military command in Afghanistan when that invasion first began and nobody knew who was who. So
and they just grabbed them right off the street and said, hey,
that's
look,
right.
You're going to Guantanamo.
No, they said you're going to Bagram Air Base where they'll torture you there.
Well,
now, if you want to call this program, Mark, and talk to me about a situation like this, then you, by God, go do a little bit of study. I am so sick of you people calling this program who don't have a clue as to what's going on. Your heads are so full of this right-wing BS, this Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity crap. What do you mean if they're Taliban? You have no idea who they are. You have no idea who's being detained. You don't even know how many people are being detained. And I'll bet you, goddammit, you couldn't even find Cuba on a map. Now get off my program. And don't come back. I'm serious. And I forbid you to listen. Don't you dare listen to my program, much less call. Jackasses, I get so tired of that. Well, Mike, you didn't give him a chance to talk. Yeah, I did. I can't stand that. I can't stand that. And every single... Why do I do that? Look, we're going to pass a law for a while, a Mike Malloy law. And anybody up and down the chain of command of this radio network and program, no more of these bastards. I don't want them on my air anymore. Somebody calls in and has a dissent, screw them. Not going to put them on because they're always such asses. They don't know what they're talking about. I'm sick of using this program to disseminate Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, Michael Reagan, radio talk show right-wing nut job propaganda. No thank you. Go away. I have tried for 6 years, 7, ever since this half-wit stole the presidency. I've tried for 7 years to find at least one right-winger who could present an argument that made sense, who would offer facts that were in fact facts. And I have yet to find one. So, I've said over and over and over and over and over and over again until I'm blue in the face. If you're a right-winger and you want to call this program, there's a certain way to conduct yourself. And if you don't do it, you're out of here. It's just very simple. Very simple. The same rule applies to liberals or progressives, but they don't do this kind of crap the way you right-wingers do. So enough. Enough already. To hell with you people. To hell with you. Call Limbaugh. Get in some kind of a masturbatory fantasy with him. But stay away from this program. Just stay away. And don't listen. I don't want you to listen. Creeps. This is David in Bakersfield. David, welcome to the program.
How are you doing, Mr. Malloy?
I'm doing fine. Uh-oh, I can tell right away you're going to be a wingnut, right? I knew it.
A wingnut?
Yeah.
No, I don't believe wingnut.
All right. What do you got?
I am a conservative, and I do believe in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. I don't know if that makes me a wingnut or not, but...
Oh, stop. What are you calling me about? Come on, David.
Well, I just wanted to call and because I hear you complaining about the children that are getting killed over there in Afghanistan, which is, a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering, because I just came across your program, were you just as outraged about all the innocent lives that were lost when they came over here?
Oh, sure. Any time the government of the United States acts in a manner that results in 3,000 people in America being killed, murdered, yeah, of course I was. Weren't you just listening when you were on hold?
Yeah, I caught that. But
yeah,
I
okay.
believe it was, Clinton did let Obama didn't go 4 times, you know that.
No, he didn't. And what about Clinton?
Oh, he didn't?
No, Clinton captured, arrested, tried, convicted, and jailed the first group that attacked the World Trade Center. It was your boy George W. Bush who allowed all of this to go on. And your other boy, Dick Cheney, this mad, blood-sucking freak. Come on, David. You sound like you have the potential to be a normal human being. Why are you calling my program with stuff that is absolute nonsense? Why are you doing that?
Well, I just want to know what your opinion was.
Well, you know what my opinion is. You're a regular listener. Don't pretend like you've never heard the program. You're a regular listener. You tune in as often as you can. Don't play that kind of head game with me.
I do listen to your program.
Well, you just said a few minutes ago you happened to hear it.
It's about 2 weeks ago.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I'll tell you what, David. We got a poor connection on your phone, and I just don't want to talk about this nonsense. All right? Call me some other time. Try to straighten yourself out. Honest to God, please try to straighten yourself out, okay? Bill Clinton let Obama escape 4 times. And, it just staggers the mind that somebody would call this program or have that belief in their head. And I don't like to play games with these people, like asking a question of, well, what reason would Bill Clinton have had for murdering Osama bin Laden to begin with? What? His family were business partners of the Bush family for decades. They shared their fortunes, and why would Clinton want to kill Osama bin Laden? Osama bin Laden hadn't done anything to the United States in 1994, 1995, 1996, 1997, 1998, 1999, or 2000. It was in 2001, after George W. Bush and his nest of vampires took over the country, that, in your belief system, Osama bin Laden attacked the United States. I don't know. I just... Oh, never mind. Ben is calling from Fayetteville, Arkansas, listening on Sirius. Ben, welcome to the program.
Hey, Mike. Just noticed you were talking to a previous caller about getting the wealthy people out of politics.
Yeah.
And funding it. Well, curious, is that going to include both sides? I mean, is that going to include getting Oprah and Jay Leno to put supporting candidates on the air? You donating millions of dollars worth of airtime?
Have I gotten another right-winger here? Can you not, what is with you people that you can't seem to understand English? What is it that makes you feel inspired to call this program and ask me half-assed questions like that? When I talk about getting money out of politics, that's pretty clear. It's a very simple declarative sentence. What is wrong with you people? Do you just by nature want to be jackasses and interrupt somebody's radio program with a half-witted question like that? Oprah's money? Oprah who? Jay Leno's money? Are you out of your goddamn mind? Jay Leno is one of the biggest conservatives in Hollywood. I mean, what is wrong with you? Can you not call, if you are going to call a radio program that you hear, where issues are being discussed, where statements are being made, why do you have to call with a dumbass question like that? What is wrong with you people? I would prefer that you not call. I really would. I've said for the better part of 20 years, if ever, and I think it's happened maybe once or twice, I could get a call from someone who declares himself a conservative or a right-winger or a Republican or however you want to define yourself, but, on the other side of the aisle, that can just put together coherent thought or carry on a conversation or, not start out with, well, do you think Oprah Winfrey's money ought to be gone? Well, how many times did Bill Clinton let Obama, what's his name, not Obama, let Osama bin Laden slip away? Huh? How many times? Can't you people get past that? No. You obviously cannot. So that's why I say I just wish you go do something else. I mean, why me? Call Tom Hartman. He's on during the day. Call Tom. Tom likes to turn you people inside out. I just wish you would all go away. But call the Tom Hartman program. You can hear him on XM, Sirius. You can hear him various radio stations around the country. He's a very bright man. And he is willing to play with you. Of course, when he's finished with you, all of a sudden you look around and your ass is missing and your arms are gone. And you've gotten a buzz haircut. And Hartman does this without even breathing hard. So call Hartman. He likes to get calls like that. I find them, frankly, kind of define dumbassery, and if there's anything I really don't like, it's dumbassery. I just don't have the time or the inclination to flip you people, and Hartman does, bless his heart. That's why I enjoy listening to Hartman's program. because he turns these people into pretzels until they wind up, they don't know which door they came in, and they have no idea how to get out when Hartman's finished with them. It's real funny, real funny. So do that, pal. Call Hartman. He'll play with it. Harry is calling from New York. Oh, my God. Are you a flying monkey, Harry?
Hey, Mike, nice way to stall the clock.
What?
Listen.
Stall the clock? What do you mean?
Well, you got complaints with everybody. You don't like the Republicans. You don't like the Democrats. I think you just don't like this country, just like you don't like God. And what are you going to do on Christmas reading out of the Bible, you atheist?
Well, I read out of all kinds of religious texts. Don't you?
I don't think an atheist should be touching that Bible.
What will happen if I do? Will it make you burn up?
No, you can do it. Let me tell you something. I've never been so proud of my president as I am right now.
Yeah, why?
I don't know. I just know that he's a great American.
Yeah, how? Way to go, Harry. Yeah, we didn't hang up on Harry. Harry started to wet himself and you know, had to hang up real quick before he electrocuted himself, too. Oh, my God. What was that? Mel?
Yes, I'm right here.
There you go. All right. Our bad. It was just something in the board here. Yeah, welcome to the program.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
I just wanted to ask your
Sure, go ahead.
On something.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity. Now, I am a conservative. But I'm just curious as what your opinion is as to why Obama would not admit that we've had a very good possibility of 2 terrorist attacks that's happened on the United States in the last 6 months or so. Speaking of the
did somebody ask him that?
Well, I mean, you know, the guy that shot those people at Fort Hood, you know, he seemed to be motivated by Islam.
Now, why do you say that? Because you've heard reports that he shouted Allahu Akbar?
Well, not only that, but he's been in contact with Al-Qaeda.
How do you know that?
According to the press.
No, what press?
And well, let's see, NBC, ABC.
No. Nobody at NBC or ABC has said he's been in contact with Al-Qaeda. Where are you getting that information? I'm just curious.
Well, I'll say, from Conservative Talk Radio.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
all right. Well, at least be honest with me. If you're going to call my program, Mel, if you're going to call, I'll put you on hold because I don't like to be interrupted. If you're going to call my program, the least I don't care what your opinion is. You can tell me that you think the moon is made out of communion wafers. I don't give a goddamn. But don't be dishonest with me and tell me that you heard something on ABC and NBC when you know damn good and well you did not. Now, I don't like liars. You're a conservative. You're a liar by nature. Get off my program. Thank you. Goodbye. Don't call again. Jesus, God. Why do you people call me with this garbage, huh? You heard it on conservative radio. Well, of course you did. I mean, anything Obama does, if he scratches his ass, that's going to be some kind of an act of communism.
I wonder how many acts of terror you could classify as terrorist acts that occurred on American soil during the Bush administration. What was the CIA report that came out that said that the homegrown militia groups, these folks were the most dangerous threat to America because of all the church bombings?
Right-wing callers, right-wing people, conservatives, Democrats and Republicans. They don't care about that. Don't, Kathy. You're confusing the issue with facts. I swear to God, after 20 years of trying to make a space where Republicans or conservatives or right-wingers could call my program, no matter who I was working for, 20 years I've tried to give you people some space to do it. And you still haven't figured it out. Please, don't call me. Honest to Christ, don't. There's no invitation here to call this program. If you want to sit back and listen, go ahead. But don't call. You're wasting my incoming phone bill. You waste airtime. I've got a few listeners who love to hear you sliced and diced, but frankly to me, it's just a pain in the butt. Don't call. You're all crazy. You're nuts. You get your information from a collection of cretins and psychopaths unknown in American media ever. So, I'm just going to say again, don't call. You turn my stomach, all of you. You don't have the sense of a handful of asparagus stalks. Go away. Oh, you can listen, but don't call. Don't call. Don't ever call. Thank you. I used to have a different policy. I used to say, okay, right-wingers, Republicans, you can call if you can make sense. If you can get through one sentence without a lie. If you can come into my place of business without starting your tirade with an insult against me. If you got something to say that even borders on coherency or fact. But all of that is a waste. None of these right-wing, no Republican, no conservative can do that. It's impossible. It's beyond their ability. They've had their brains squeezed dry and filled up with Becky and bull feathers. That's all. So really, call each other. Go on Free Republic. Go play with each other. Go do that, Call Limbaugh's program. Call Beck's program. Call Hannity's. Call Michelle Malkin. Call all this whole stable of right-wing screwballs. Call them. They would love it. Me, you turn my goddamn stomach, so don't call me again. Thank you! Mark is calling from Lancaster, PA. Mark, welcome to the program.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good. Yeah, I had some, I guess you could say minor disagreements on the duty on our country thing. I'm currently in the National Guard, and I don't think you can really separate any of them or the service for the country. I mean, sure, there's some, I'm not standing up for Bush or Cheney or Rumsfeld or anyone else up top.
All right, well, let me ask you a question, Mark. How is military service now? National Guard, you say you're in National Guard.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as far as I'm concerned, the National Guard is a whole different creature than regular Army. I realize that the National Guard since since World War II, has been forced to not be National Guard and go into theater combat, different places around the planet. I understand that, but the original concept of the National Guard, if I understand that correctly, is what it says. It is a guard for the homeland. But let me ask you this question: when we talk about duty, honor, country, or honor, duty, country, in what way is the United States military? And I'm not challenging you here. I just want to hear what you have to say. In what way is the military, under its current leadership, and especially the past 8 years, in what way is it serving the country?
Well, I think pretty much the war, the initial invasion, WMDs, I think we can all agree was a lie, or others will argue conspiracy, what have you. But the point is that when we went in there, toppled the Saddam government, we had a country in shambles. So, young people in the military, they do what they have to do to put things back together, or to fight the war on terror. Al-Zawahiri, who could be number one in Al-Qaeda, certainly number two, he said that Iraq is the number one place to fight, strictly because we were there, certainly. And he wouldn't be fighting us there if we weren't there, but the point is we're there. We're fighting terrorism there now.
Okay, Mark.
There's
Wait. Mark. I guess Mark. I guess he. All right. All right. I guess Mark can't hear me, so I'm going to have to put him on hold. Is there any way you can adjust the sound? All right, Mark. I had to put you on hold. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. You were going on and on and on there. The point that you are making is so susceptible to being just having the hell kicked out of it. If you say that the invasion of Iraq was, these are not your exact words, but what you were alluding to was the fact that the invasion of Iraq was illegal. Do you not understand that that's a war crime?
Well,
wait. Now hold on a second.
I'm not saying it's illegal, though.
No,
It's not illegal.
well, by any definition, there was no Al-Qaeda in Iraq until we invaded. The whole world, including our own intelligence apparatus, understands this now. We caused it. It is illegal. It is against the Geneva Conventions. It is against the law to invade a country for no reason. We set that law at the Nuremberg war trials, and as a result of that, we hanged people. We sent them to their deaths. Now, I'm going to put you on hold because I want to continue this discussion with you, Mark. Where is the honor in participating in the invasion and an occupation of another country that did nothing?
Well, to say that the country did nothing towards America, I think is a bit.
Okay, what? Now let's take it. Let's take it. Hold on. Step at a time. What did they do to us?
Well, they threatened U.S. interests.
No, Mark, they did not.
Which is a big deal. Same with the Persian invasion.
Mark, you gotta slow down. They never threatened us. As a matter of fact, Donald Rumsfeld, before he was the Secretary of Defense, there are pictures on the internet of his shaking hands with Saddam Hussein, because Donald Rumsfeld represented not just the government, but companies that were producing poison gases that Saddam Hussein was buying from us in order to use against the Kurds in northern Iraq. What did Iraq do to us, Mark?
To us, in 2003, they didn't do anything to us. And
all right, let's back up.
But I think
what?
I'll argue.
Right, no, wait, let's back up. What has Iraq ever done to the United States that would provoke an invasion and occupation? What? Ever. Go back 1,000 years if you want to. What have they ever done to us?
Well, we have to understand, doing something directly to the United States isn't the only way to harm the United States. For example, us responding to Saddam's invasion of Kuwait was to protect the United States in the sense that it was protecting U.S. interests, because we assumed maybe he wouldn't stop there.
All right, now stop there, Mark. U.S. interests, protecting U.S. interests. What do you mean by that? Do you mean the oil fields?
Absolutely. In the case of
okay, so no wait, stop. So where is the honor in sending American young men and women to die to protect oil fields in another country? Tell me, where's that honor?
Well, to protect oil fields in another country is to protect U.S. interests. And to protect U.S. interests is to protect the country. Okay, let's say...
What? No, wait, stop. What interests were being protected?
In 2003 or...
Ever?
Well, in the original invasion, the Gulf War, back in, 89, 90?
What interests were being protected? The United States interests were being...
okay, so say theoretically...
No, Mark, wait, stop. Not theoretically. In the real world, what interests of the United States were being protected when we launched an invasion against Iraq?
Well, like I said before, in the Gulf War, U.S. interests were threatened.
Okay, Mark, Mark, you can't use the word I'm asking you to define in the definition. Let's try one more time. What U.S. interests were being protected when we invaded Iraq? You have to be specific. You know why? Because your life depends on it. What interests were being protected, U.S. interests, when we invaded Iraq?
In 1990, when we invaded Iraq, U.S. interest being protected was Saudi Arabia, one, in terms of oil when I say Saudi Arabia, and number two, which I don't think is the primary reason, but it also did gain us popularity among the Middle Eastern countries because other Middle Eastern countries feared the same thing we did, that they wouldn't stop the Kuwait. Now, in 2003, I don't think the same argument can be made there.
All right, Mark, you still haven't told me what interests were being protected, what American interests. You're telling me about Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and Iraq. What we're leading up here to is American troops willing to kill to protect oil fields, American troops willing to turn the other way when children are being sodomized in order to establish false reasons for the invasion to begin with. Where is the honor, Mark?
Well, the honor from a civilian side is probably more poster boy and recruiting commercials, right?
No, wait, Mark,
I think is very
Mark,
Mark,
where is the honor in what we've done in Iraq? Let me broaden it out a little bit. Just where is any honor in what we've done in Iraq?
Well, honor to who? Honor to the people? Honor to the terrorists?
Honor as you define it as a soldier. Where?
As a soldier, I define it as honor to your country. Country first.
All right.
I think that is the most important
All
thing.
right, now does that mean then that you find honor, for example, in what the Germans did in World War II?
To them, it was very honorable.
No. To you, was that honorable?
To me, no, because it's
all right. What did the Germans do? They invaded country after country. What have we done where it concerns Iraq? Did we not invade them?
Absolutely, we did.
All right. Wait. Why did we invade them? You see, we're going round in circles here. Why did we invade Iraq?
Because you could say honor, or you could say.
Okay. All right. Mark, I have to give up. And I wish you the best, pal. I hope you are not activated and sent into a combat zone. I was out and about late this afternoon, and as I've said before, I have Sirius XM in the vehicle. So I switched over to the audio of MSNBC, and much to my surprise, Donald Trump at a big rally in Cincinnati. And the more I listened to it, what he was saying, the more I think today is the day I really realized how unhinged this man is. Just how absolutely, I don't want to use a term that's flip or has any humor to it at all. This fucker's crazy, is what I'm trying to say. Trump is nuts. Completely. And I listened to him, and while I was doing my little running around, I got home and immediately turned on MSNBC on the television to watch this. And I don't know. It makes me so sad to see this piece of shit, this insane human being, at the head of a major political party in this country. Now, I don't give a shit about the Republicans. I really don't. I hope they just go up and smoke. And I feel the same way about 95% of the Democrats. Go away. But this guy is such... I just can't find the words. How do you describe Donald Trump, other than using the usual Malloy kind of curse words and scatological language and all this other bullshit? I understand. I do not have the vocabulary to describe Donald Trump. I just don't. It's beyond me. I mean, I have tried over the past year to come up with a workable description of this guy. And, it failed. I mean, Hitlerian, Mussolini, fascist, asshole, dumb shit, joke, threat. None of it really describes Trump. And now, guess who's sucking around him like some kind of a 25-cent prostitute? There's Newt Gingrich. There he is. Now, what would Newt bring to the Trump ticket besides all the shit that Newt has been through? Resigning, being kicked out of the House, all of his affairs, all of his wives, all of his bullshit, all of his sneakiness, all of his deals with Roger Ailes that turned out to be payoffs, while Gingrich was the Speaker of the House. And Roger Ailes was trying to get the Fox network on the air. The problem is it was owned by a foreigner. And the rules in this country, if you are a foreign national, you cannot own, or at least it was in the 90s, the mid-90s, you cannot own a media outlet. So what Gingrich did, he told Ailes, he said, well, I'm going to write a book. So the publishing arm of the Fox empire, the Murdoch empire, advanced Newt Gingrich, what was it, $1 million. And in return, Gingrich was going to grease the way for the Murdoch empire to open up Fox News. Well, he was caught, Gingrich was. So he returned the money and then took $1. I mean, Gingrich is about as dirty a politician as there could exist. So there he is at this rally with Trump. Now, I didn't see the two of them on the stage together, but I saw some video. Apparently, they're doing home movies of each other or some such shit, maybe phone videos, I don't know. But it was absolutely disgusting to see this. In the meantime, Bob Corker, a right-wing devil, Joni Ernst, who loves to pose with AK-47s, they were considered by the Trump slime balls to be possible vice presidential nominees, and they both said, no, fuck it, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. No. So I get in the house and I sit down to watch this, and I'm just stunned, just dumbfounded of what he's talking about. The inability to form sentences, the inability to get to any topic whatsoever without relating it back to his fucked up life or what he thinks or how it negatively affected him and how everything's rigged against him. Of course the goddamn system is rigged. We know that. But but Trump will tell you it's exclusively and singularly rigged against him. This man is paranoid. I'm speaking of a clinical definition. He suffers from paranoia. He suffers from toxic narcissism. And yet people are still following him. There is a real kick in the solar plexus coming for all the folks who voted for Donald Trump and then yelped and cheered and screeched and peed themselves when he passed that massive tax cut. And people who knew what was going on said, this is for the wealthy, this is for corporations, you're not going to get shit. And of course, Trump lied through his ass, which is all he knows how to do, and convinced the lower classes that this is going to put money in their pocket. And immediately, because of the tax cut, everybody saw an extra $20-25 every time they got a paycheck. And Trump was walking around with his chest puffed out like Mussolini, talking about, see? Guess what's coming? Most Americans got that tax cut thanks to a new the Republican tax law, but millions of households are going to get a surprise bill from the IRS in the coming weeks. You were warned, you dumb shits. Here's an example of a lawyer in New York City. Not a good example, but listen. He said he earned the same amount of money last year as he had the year before, but he wound up with a totally different tax situation. He said, last year I got a $750 refund. This year I owe $4,600. There are two reasons that this guy finds himself in this situation. He lost his refund both because Republicans targeted wealthy metropolitan areas where the Democrats live for tax hikes, and also because of how Trump's administration implemented the law. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act cut rates for taxpayers at every income level and simplified the tax code for most filers. Part of that simplification meant getting rid of a lot of deductions which people use to reduce the amount of their taxable earnings. One of the most controversial changes, this according to Huffington Post, limited the amount of state and local tax payments that could be deducted. Previously, a tax filer could reduce his or her taxable income by subtracting the income taxes they paid to their state and local governments. But the Trump law capped those deductions at $10,000. Now, back to this attorney, he said he usually pays more than 3 times that amount in state and local taxes. While preparing to file his taxes through the H&R Block website this week, he said the blood drained from his face when he realized how much he would owe. He had anticipated getting another refund that he was going to use for a vacation. Surprise, asshole! He said, quote, I guess that my assumption was that the IRS withholding tables would have been updated to some degree, or my company would have done something. Now, this guy's an attorney who lives in New York. Okay, that's not you. And that's not me. But for people like us, either working class, working poor, middle class, whatever you want to call us, your tax bill will be higher this year than it was last year. And when you find that out, Mr. or Mrs. Make America Great Again, are you going to put your red hat on and go to the next time this asshole holds a rally and start screaming, build the wall or lock her up? Huh? Or are you going to wake the fuck up and get rid of him? And I'll try to be respectful. I can't, but I'm going to make an effort to be respectful for the people who voted for Trump. Just for a moment, because a lot of you voted for Obama. You are the ones who are going to suffer the most. Your children are going to die. Your spouse is going to die way before he or she should. Your family is going to be disrupted in a way that you cannot even imagine right now. Your communities are going to fall further apart. Trump is not going to open anything. What has he done for you so far? What has he done for anything so far? All he's done is pull down mountains of bullshit onto the United States through his crazy actions, starting with his comment, well, I've got people out in Hawaii looking through the records out there, and, we got a lot of people working on find out about Obama. No, we can't find a birth certificate, can't find anything. This son of a bitch is insane. Do you not get that? Oh, don't yell, Mike, please. Jesus Christ, don't yell. Do you notice? Have you absorbed? Have you finally understood the total contempt that this administration has for education? Total contempt. Starting in the lowest grades by putting this fuckwad Betsy DeVos in charge of the Department of Education. Total disregard, total disrespect. And of course, it's easy to understand why, because if you're thinking long, like I'm sure Steve Bannon is, stupid people, ignorant people, uneducated people are so much easier to manipulate. Proof? Look at Trump's crowds and how they reacted during the campaign. Look at Trump's crowds now and how they react. Brain dead. He's not so much attacking Barack Obama. He's not attacking the leadership of this country specifically. He's using catchphrases, but he's doing what Hitler did. He's talking about the foreigner among us. In Hitler's day, it was the foreigner, the immigrant, the Jew, the liberal, the communist, the other among us, which
anybody who wasn't white with blonde hair and blue eyes.
Right. So Hitler united the German people, whether they knew it or not at the time, on that basis, on the basis of we have enemies within the country who are eating us alive, who are destroying us, who are killing us. We have to stop them. Hence the development of the brown shirts. Now, Trump is doing exactly the same thing. He's connecting. In my opinion, he is connecting exactly the same way. When you look at Hitler in the late 20s, after he got out of jail, Germany was in total decline. Unemployment. Well, they were in the middle of like the rest of the world, in a depression in the early 30s.
Yeah.
So Hitler connected with the unemployed, with the uneducated. Trump is connecting with primarily the unemployed or the underemployed and the uneducated. I don't care if it's in Alabama or Derry, New Hampshire. It doesn't make any difference. So all of a sudden, I'm starting to see Trump, who is, by any standard, a very, very ignorant man. And it's my understanding that Hitler was also very stupid, no worldview. Hitler was a sociopath of the most perfect dimensions. And I think Donald Trump is the same way. Trump's connections to the underworld are pretty explicit. And what he is doing is uniting people around hatred. He's not uniting people around positive thinking or let's move the country forward. That's not what Trump's doing. He's doing exactly the same thing that the German Führer did. He's uniting people around hatred. And I'm not selling him short anymore. There's so much hatred in this country, Scott, that has been generated over the past 25 years by wall-to-wall right-wing political and right-wing Christian broadcasting that has just saturated this country top to bottom with contempt, disrespect, disgust, hatred, fear, prejudice, guns, bigotry, madness, insanity, and it hasn't stopped. If you start listening to Trump, he has no policies. He doesn't offer a solution to anything. All he's focusing on is killing or destroying, my word, killing, eliminating the other. And right now, the other is immigrants.
Well, and see, here's the thing, though. That is all true as far as it goes, but 2015 America is not 1920s and 1930s Germany.
No, I think it's worse. I think it's much worse. Let me tell you why I think it's worse, Scott. Hitler didn't have mass communication. Hitler had to get up and give speeches. He had to rely on Leni Riefenstahl to get out his films. We have mass media in this country where racists, Klansmen, neo-fascists can connect with each other at the speed of light. Now, if you think back, or if you look at the old films, especially by the ones produced and directed by Leni Riefenstahl, Hitler's film biographer, and keeping in mind that Riefenstahl framed Hitler in the best possible way to show his superiority, his super race, his Übermensch, his his ability to talk about how the German people had been humiliated and beat down, and it was all because of the foreigners and the Jews and the gypsies and the liberals and the communists. And if you listen to Trump doesn't talk about enemies outside the United States. He's talking about enemies inside the United States, just like Hitler did. Exactly. I mean, I hate to belabor the point here, and I know a lot of people may disagree with this, but if you listen to Trump and listen to what he's saying and what he's not saying, the guy has nothing to offer except this, I'm a strong man, look at me, I'm powerful, I'm successful, I'm a billionaire, and these goddamn vermin who are loose inside of our precious country are destroying it. And then tonight I understand that when he was in Alabama giving the speech, he was talking about genes, genetics. I mean, we've been down this road before. And we've talked about on this program over the past 20 years, fascism in this country has always been about 2 centimeters below the surface of all this Jesus stuff and this I love America stuff and you know, the land of the free and the home of the brave. Fascism in this country is you can touch it if you want to reach out and touch it. Yes.
Well, I was just going to add to my decorating comments that, you know, I just have to say Donald Trump is starting to remind me an awful lot of Vladimir Putin. You know, I keep waiting to see photos of Donald Trump bare-chested, riding a bear or wrestling an anaconda or, you know, shooting guns at things or cuddling up with little white tigers or... Don't you get that feeling that he's...
No, not at all. No, I really don't, Kathy. I think the comparison or any similarities between Trump and Putin are just not there. I'll stay with the Hitler analogy. And the reason for it, communism has never been a viable threat in this country, and Putin's a communist. Fascism has been a threat in this country. Well, we were founded on fascism. I mean, come on. Let's just put it where it is. And keep in mind, and I'm sure a lot of you know this, that the attempt to align the United States with Hitler in the 30s was just overt. It was just right up front. The German-American Bund, the rallies at the Cow Palace in Chicago, the rallies at Madison Square Garden in New York, the rallies in San Francisco, the German-American Bund, the Nazis, the arm, the raised arm, the swastika. It sounds like something. If you're a regular listener to this program, you know I've been talking about this and around this and through this for a good 20 years. Fascism really scares the hell out of me. It really, really does. I mean, any kind of true believer-ism is scary. But fascism has a record. Fascism has a record. So does the kind... And let me just back up. Before someone sends me an email and says, well, Stalin is responsible for 30 million dead and he was a communist. Stalin was a fascist. That wasn't communism that existed in the Soviet Union in the 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s. That wasn't communism. That was Russian-style fascism. But Hitler, who had no problem identifying the internal enemies. And they were the parasites. They were the ones that had to be beaten and killed and stomped on and destroyed and gassed eventually and burned in ovens. How much distance is there between the most ferocious rhetoric of Adolf Hitler and what is beginning to generate and come out of Trump's mouth? There is a feedback loop here. Trump is such an ignorant son of a bitch. He's kind of like Hitler in that way. Just a stupid, stupid man. Remember what Hitler was? He was a goddamn house painter. He had had his brains addled by poison gas on the Eastern Front or the Western Front during World War I. Listen to what Trump says. Listen to how his rhetoric. Listen to what he says about women, what he says about immigrants, what he says, how long is it going to be? You know, he brags about, oh, I know everybody. I know the boys in Chicago. I know the police. We're going to turn everything over to the police. Let them, they're just, you know, we got to stop this political correctness. Isn't that very similar? I mean, the Jews in Germany were part of the reason that Germany was such a fantastic place. The composers, the scientists, the thinkers, the artists, the writers. And along comes Hitler. You know, once I started reading about Dachau and Treblinka and reading Elie Wiesel's books, and I know, there's all kinds of, I'm not talking about Israel, Palestine. I'm talking about how that kind of hatred was focused by Adolf Hitler against people who were part of the core of the greatness of Germany. And I look at what Trump is doing. He has a different Jew. His Jew is an immigrant. I wonder if all these white people who voted for Trump, whether they lived in busted up cities like Warren, Ohio, or Elyria, Ohio, or Toledo, Ohio. You know, you can take any state from the so-called Rust Belt and come up with all kinds of examples of city populations that are full of people with busted dreams, no future, just bullshit because of the way the capitalists run the society and manipulate the society and look at workers as just an expense that they just goddamn would like to get rid of. And so they do. If it costs too much to have Libby Owens Ford Glass Company in Toledo, we'll move the goddamn thing to Singapore. You know, that sort of attitude. But how can people who have been ripped over and over and over again by the Republican Party still vote Republican? That is the core conundrum that I cannot understand. I've tried to reduce it to single issue stuff, like people vote Republican because they want guns. Well, in 8 years of Obama, there was only one gun law passed, and that was a law to allow guns into national parks. And yet, how many times did you hear from these lying sons of bitches on the NRA that Obama wanted your guns? Obama didn't give a shit about your guns. He don't care about your guns. Fuck you. Use your guns. Go kill each other. Blow yourselves to pieces. One bill became law under Obama that concerns guns. And that was to make it legal to take guns into national parks. So the NRA, like any other right-wing organization, lies every time one of its spokespeople opens their goddamn mouths. Everything that comes out of their mouths is a lie. But I'm talking about the Republicans. Anyway, the pretense that social safety net programs just reward lazy people. Krugman writes, now this was never true, and in an era of rising inequality and declining traditional industries, some of the biggest beneficiaries of these these safety net programs are members of the Trump-supporting white working class. This is the irony I can't understand. The white, so-called conservative, Bible-thumping, gun-owning people who support Trump are the ones who are going to be the most severely injured if either of these bills become law. Do they not know that? I know that. And I'm not part of that group. And I never would be. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not stupid. And I'm not ignorant. And when I find an area where I'm ignorant, I try to get unignorant. And I usually have a lot of help with that. In other words, unlike these Republicans who vote for Trump, I don't see ignorance or stupidity as my friend, as something comforting. You know the saying, where ignorance is bliss, it's folly to be wise. You know, what's the point? But I digress. To put it another way, the modern Republican Party basically consists of career apparatchiks who live in an intellectual bubble. And those Reagan-era stereotypes still dominate their picture of struggling Americans. You know, here we are, how many years later? 30, 35 years later. After that bullshit about the welfare queens and ordering just enormous stacks of steaks to load into the trunk of your Coupe de Ville. I mean, what bullshit! And yet, so many white Americans bought into it because we're a racist society. Of course it's the Negroes. Who else would it be? Now it's the immigrants. Now it's the Muslims. But once we settle the issue with the immigrants and the Muslims, we can go back to being racist about the Negroes. Fucking unreal, isn't it? I mean, it just borders on, well, full-blown madness. And when you have somebody at the top of the heap who is as insane as Trump, it's like a cascade of bullshit coming down on the American public. And it's never ending. It's like a fountain, you know, just gushing this bullshit, these lies, the distortions, the disrespect, the contempt, the fear, the anger, the rage, all over the country. What other president have you read about who used the word in his inaugural address, the two words American carnage? Who the fuck ever said, who used that? Now, does American carnage exist? Sure, but not where it concerns the people who vote for Trump. At least they're not aware of it. And they're not aware of, if it does exist, who's causing it. If people just would come out of whatever anesthetic that they're under when they believe that the Republican Party is the least bit interested in their well-being, their welfare, their chances to make it in this country, if they would just come out from under that cloud and reject the Republican Party for what it is. It's a group of killers. No, really, it's a group of killers. They don't care how many Americans they kill. For some of them, the more the better. Now, I'm not saying that Republicans, working class Republicans, should come out of the ether and become a Democrat. No, you don't have to do that. Just get the fuck out of the Republican Party. They are killing you. Do you not get that? Once you tell a lie, and the person you're lying to discovers it's a lie, how is that person to ever completely trust you again? No, seriously. So we told Molly, as she's been growing up, always tell us the truth. No matter what it is. And we will respect you, protect you, defend you, excuse you, forgive you, whatever it takes. And it seems like some of that penetrated into Molly's developing brain, because she doesn't lie. Does she, Kathy? She doesn't lie. She's forgetful, but she doesn't lie. Trump is a liar. So to you people who voted for him, how do you handle this? I mean, how do you know that he's not lying to you? He lied to you about so much shit during the campaign. You're aware of that, right? You're aware that, but what are you going to do about it now? Trump got back to the White House for this meeting with the British Prime Minister, and he got back late, just like Sean Sphincter said. And during the flight from Philly to D.C., Sphincter said that Trump would sign a document that would, quote, follow up on the announcement yesterday to better understand voter fraud, end quote. But, you know, the numbers thing to this psycho, and there's no doubt anymore. I hope even you people who voted for him, you understand, you voted for a psychopath. You really did. This fixation he has on numbers, and the reason he has the fixation is because he has to be the winner. He has to, no matter what. If 500,000 people showed up for his inauguration, he can't stand that. It's got to be 1,500,000. Everything has to be bigger and better because he is such a puny little shit. A puny little shit who he and his old man built their fortune on scamming people, being racist, bankrupting, throwing people out of work, scamming that whole, and it deserves to be scammed, that whole debt Wall Street bullshit gang who said, oh, yeah, let's have lots of debt. We're not going to have to pay for it when it all collapses. The American people will pay for it. That's what Trump is. He's nothing. He's nothing. But he happens to be the president right now. Oh, God, I almost choked on that one. Let me get this vomit out of my throat. And then there's this, which just about totally freaked me out because I'm going to use terms I don't like to use. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, prevailed upon an agency of the United States government to lie. The story is, on the morning after Trump's inauguration, Acting National Park Service Director Michael T. Reynolds received an extraordinary summons. The new president wanted to talk to him. In a Saturday phone call, while 3 million Americans and God knows how many around the world were demonstrating against this fascist pig, in a Saturday phone call, Trump personally ordered Michael T. Reynolds to produce additional photographs of the previous day's crowds on the mall, according to 3 individuals who have knowledge of the conversation. He wanted the head of the National Park Service to make shit up. It didn't make any difference how many aerial photographs. Didn't make any difference how many side-by-side comparisons. Trump couldn't stand it. Couldn't stand it. Oh, my God, there are more bitches in the street than people that came to honor me? No. Yes. A lot of nasty women out there, Donald. And a lot of them would probably thrill to the idea of slicing your nutsack off. You have pissed them off so badly. Now, that's the same day that Trump had this filthy conversation with the head of the National Park Service, this goddamn liar. Same day that he made an appearance at CIA headquarters to deliver a blistering attack on the media after he stood there again for 2-3 minutes talking about how he really kicked ass. He won. Largest this in history. Oh, God. They didn't think Trump was going to win, but Trump won. Hey, how are you? How you doing? Nice to see you. I won. And he delivered, while he was there, a blistering attack on the media for reporting that large swaths of the mall were nearly empty during the event. Yeah, those goddamn aerial photographers, they must all be liberal pricks who went up there and took pictures of enormous crowds and then photoshopped it, right? And then who was the guy, the Brit, who was actually riding in the inaugural parade in one of those limos? And he had his video camera, not his phone, his video camera with, and he wanted to take videos of the enormous crowds along Pennsylvania Avenue. And if you look at, where did I see the video? Rachel Maddow's program, or Lawrence O'Donnell's. But here's this video. It goes on, and you see grandstands, and you see maybe clutches of maybe 20, 30, 50, 10, 8 people scattered watching the parade. The guy's in the parade. This is not video taken a day before or 10 hours before or a day after. He's in the parade taking these videos. And when I saw it, I just thought, what the hell? Nobody. Now, it wasn't nobody. There were probably 300,000-400,000 people there. Maybe 500,000. So what? So this. The only people that showed up for that were either people who were very curious or people who couldn't believe that this country had gone fascist, or the suckers who had voted for him. Who do we blame? We got to blame somebody for this shit. Oh, wait a minute. I know we blame.
I blame Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
No, I blame us. I blame all of us voters who, starting after Reagan, said fuck it and decided not to ever go vote Democratic again. Or, well, yeah, the ones who decided never to vote Democratic again because, you know, the Democratic Party's lost touch with the working people that used to represent. So rather than begin the tiring, sweaty work of rebuilding the Democratic Party, everybody said, nah, I don't think so. I'll just stay home. So if we're seeking to place blame, and I think it's really necessary to place blame, I know a lot of people, what's the term? Well, you're just using the blame game. Right. Only it's not a game. Maybe if we called it assigning responsibility rather than blame. But as far as assigning responsibility, it goes to the people in this country who were Democratic by inclination or practice or theory or philosophy or whatever the reason. They were voters in the Democratic primaries, and they voted Democratic in the various elections. But for some reason, they said, no, fuck it, I think I'm going to vote for Reagan. And then after that, I'm not. They're all crooked. You remember that line? It's still out there. They're all crooked. I don't vote for anyone, but the hell with it. Really? I think about 20 years ago, I said on the air, Kathy, you would have been there, I said, you know, politics, like nature, abhors a vacuum. And if a vacuum develops in a political system, it will be immediately filled by the worst kind of vermin you can imagine. Take a look at this country now. So as far as blame, which I think is an absolute necessary course of action when you're trying to correct your course so that you don't do it again. The blame, or if that just stings your little ass a little bit, okay, the responsibility rests with us. Us. And I just wonder if we're just going to continue to say, oh, bullshit, I don't care. With someone like Trump, if we don't get our shit together and get control of this country, pause for a second and consider what comes after Trump. I used to wonder what would come after Bush and Cheney. This. What comes after Trump if we continue to not use the one franchise that we have, voting? And to the people who voted for Trump, who are hiding behind this bullshit story of how put upon you were because you were too fucking stupid to join a union. You were too fucking stupid to get into some kind of a rehab program and drop your goddamn alcohol or your meth or whatever. You were too goddamn stupid to realize that everything was changing. Just like the Industrial Revolution, all the farmers who couldn't go to work in factories, what happened to them? Gone. And these son of a bitches could not. Well, I'm not going to go to school. No, then you're trying to rise above your station in life. You're not supposed to do that. And all this whining and bitching about their anger. And that's the reason they voted for Trump. I don't accept that. They voted for Trump because they are, to the last person, religious bigots and or racists and or misogynists and or anti-immigration. They're fucking terrified of everything because if their argument was true, they would have voted for Sanders. Sanders was a positive force. Here's what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. No walls, no this, no that. We're just going to go ahead and put things together and make them work. But the white people couldn't handle that. After all, Bernie Sanders was a Jew. You never know about them Jews. Just like you never know about them Negroes. And you never know about them women. God damn. There's so many people in the Trump administration who are a combination of political fascism and Christian fascism, and they're working hand in hand, along with the National Rifle Association, which, by the way, I'm going to get to in a couple of moments. They have been infused with Russian money. What the fuck is going on in this country? I mean, we have fascist organizations thriving all over the place. We have Russian fascists pumping money into the NRA, into the Trump campaign, into every insidious little goddamn event they can think of to undermine democratic government. And what is this fuckwad in the White House doing? Does he make nice with the leaders of the democracies? No. He makes nice with the leaders of the fascist states. Who in this country is still brain dead enough not to stand what's going on? I mean, this is not hard shit, y'all. We have a fascist in the White House who is trying to break and destroy every institution in this country, as well as corrupt and destroy every alliance and agreement we have with our friends. I can't believe this shit. And everybody just keeps rocking and rolling along. Just, I haven't heard anybody on my favorite news channel yet come out and just look at the camera and say, this fucking son of a bitch is destroying America. You can leave out the F word. I don't care. I don't think anybody else cares either. Hey, Truth Seekers, Mike Malloy here on the Progressive Voices Network. We've got a deal for you. You can now subscribe to our new 1-hour audio-video combination Malloycast for only $29 a year. But you have to act fast. This deal ends on tax day, April 15th. Since we're without any business managers now, 100% of your support goes directly to maintaining our nightly campfire. Visit MikeMalloy.com to renew or to subscribe. And thank you for all the ways you keep it lit.